These archetypes are not ruining your fun in Commander, but your attitude is. Let's look at 4 strategies that seem to get an unreasonable amount of hate. Number 4. Mill. Mill is a keyword that places the top card of somebody's library into their graveyard. So if you mill one card, you would put the top card of your library into the graveyard. Imagine you got a new card for your deck and you haven't had a chance to play it yet, and this might finally be the game, you're finally going to draw it this game, and then someone mills you for 3, and suddenly the card you've been looking forward to that you recently put in your deck is just sitting in your graveyard, and maybe you have no ways in your deck to retrieve it, and now you're just looking at it like, wow, great, you know, and you're just salty because you don't get to play the card after all. So I play against a mill deck often, so I've experienced that moment, minus the salt, and I've seen people miss their land drops because they milled like 2 or 3 lands, and then all of a sudden they don't draw into any lands, and it feels like someone's denying you resources and taking your stuff away. On the other hand, they might actually mill cards that you don't need and get you closer to the cards that you do need. And if you're playing any kind of reanimator or graveyard deck, having someone mill you is the best thing that could happen. I've actually won a game because somebody was milling me and I was able to cast a living death and it was just game over right there. So sometimes mill can backfire. It's not even that strong of a strategy. My best advice is to just not be salty about mill and try to think of the cards that were sent to the graveyard as cards you might not have drawn anyways. Number 3, group hug. This strategy is all about giving out resources to your opponents, whether that's cards or mana. The group hug player is trying to just give people things and in return buy time for whatever it is that they're scheming, which is hopefully some kind of win condition, because the thing people hate the most about group hug is when it doesn't have any type of win condition and it's looking to just accelerate the game for the sake of giving resources out to other players. It was quite the shock for me to realize that people don't like group hug decks. I had never played against one and I always thought like, oh wow, it can't be that bad. It's just a fun casual archetype. It gives out things. It'll just be a good time. And then my friends and I decided to play at the Commander night at our LGS. And you know what happened? I came across 2 group hug decks. Now this was in 2 separate games. It went the same way both times. The group hug player accelerated everyone's resources to the point where the person with the infinite combo won the game. Now I wasn't salty or upset about this. It wasn't a big deal, but it did make me realize like, oh, I kind of understand where people are coming from when it comes to how they feel about group hug. It's not exactly just like, hey, welcome to the party, fun casual time. People don't like that it invalidates their deck building. So all their decisions and choices of card draw, ramp, and all this kind of go out the window when someone else is accelerating everybody at the table, and maybe those people didn't construct their decks with as much thought as you did, and now their decks are able to do well because they're getting all these free resources to make it happen, and they didn't have to make those decisions while deck building. I think a more targeted hug strategy will probably go over better with people, and you also need to consider that regardless of whether it's pure group hug or you're targeting a specific player with certain effects, you want to make sure that you still have protection for yourself and removal spells and stuff like this. You still need to interact. You can't just be like, well, I'm giving out resources so you shouldn't attack me or you shouldn't remove my stuff. You should be prepared to be interacted with, because a lot of people don't like group hug and they see you as a threat to the way that they want to play the game. Number 2, theft. As the name implies, it's all about stealing your opponent's cards. That could be from the top of their library, gaining control of their creatures, reanimating creatures from their graveyard. There's various ways to go about it, but essentially you're just using their cards against them. Regardless of how you gain control of your opponent's cards, lots of people don't like having their own cards used against them. But even beyond the psychological aspect of that, I think there's one other factor that leaves theft decks in a strange place, and that's the handling of other people's cards. I don't personally mind if someone touches my cards as long as they treat them with respect, but I can see where people can get really nervous and anxious about it. And there's always the chance that, you know, if you're playing with random people at your LGS, somebody accidentally walks away with somebody else's card or something, and that's also really scary, right? So I think that that kind of leaves theft decks in this situation where they're cool strategies because it's like, oh, I could use my opponent's cards against them. It can lead to some really weird and funny moments, but also the fact that you're handling other people's cards, it's kind of awkward. I don't think people should be as salty as they are about losing to their own cards, but I can see why people don't want other people to touch their cards or are nervous about it. Number 1 is goad and forced combat. We're going to combine them together because they're very similar. A goaded creature is a creature that must attack and is required to attack someone other than the person that goaded it if possible. And forced combat effects are just effects that require creatures to attack if they are able to. The big hate for these strategies comes from the fact that people feel like they're losing their agency in the game, and lots of people dislike the fact that they're forced to attack because they're losing half of their choices. Normally they have the choice to not attack, or they can attack one of their 3 opponents, and in this case they have to choose one of 2 opponents to attack if their creature is goaded, for example. I kind of understand the frustration of being forced to attack when you have a certain strategy and you have specific things that you want to do in the game, and then someone's telling you, hey, you have to do this thing that you may not want to do. But on the other hand, many players find goad to be the saving grace of casual EDH because it forces people to actually move into combat, participate in the combat step, and move the game along by attacking each other. So it can be quite divisive because some people absolutely hate it and some people absolutely love it. I think if you're playing goad, it's good to play a more targeted goad strategy where you're just targeting one specific creature instead of using mass goad strategies where just everything is goaded all the time, because that's going to upset people and make them feel like they simply can't play the game they want to play. So there's certainly a balance, just like anything, you know, too much of it is going to be super annoying. But I think if you balance it out, there's no reason people should be getting upset at goad. Goad is a fun strategy. Some people call it the second place strategy, but honestly, if everything's going well for you and your opponents are attacking each other, life total should be low enough that you can steal the victory for yourself. A lot of people end up gatekeeping different strategies in EDH because they simply don't like them. And I think that as players and as a community, we should be more open to various strategies. And I get it, not everyone's going to enjoy everything. Fun is subjective, of course, but I think that we could do better to be more accepting of the various strategies that exist. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about these archetypes, or if there are any other archetypes that you think people unfairly dislike in EDH. Thanks for watching. Until next time.